In this video, we're going to build, then run the code that was output when we created a new project using the .NET CLI. And so let's talk about what it means to build your code or run your code. And this is going to be dramatically oversimplified, but basically at a high level, the way that a computer works and the way that a human works are dramatically different, obviously. And so what we need to do is to write instructions in a human readable and understandable way, but then have a translation process that allows the computer to understand those instructions and execute them. And so that process is called compilation. Now in .NET, it's a little bit different. There's some extra steps that are taken because .NET allows you to run your application for multiple operating systems. So there's a sense in which not only does it need to be able to translate for the Windows operating system, but there needs to be a way for it to translate into a Mac OS, a Linux operating system, and so on. Or maybe even multiple different versions of the Windows operating system, right? A lot depends on especially years ago, it could target a number of different operating systems. So in order to accommodate that, you're not building into a machine understandable language. You build into what's called an intermediate language, or IL, and it will, the first time you try to execute the application, the .NET runtime, which hosts your application, will then compile it to a language specific for the operating system that you're currently running on. So there's a lot to it. You don't have to worry about it. It's pretty simple. You really just need to know two things. Honestly, you just need to know one thing, as I'll prove here in just a moment. Yeah, so that's pretty much all you need to know. Let's move on then and actually make it happen. So where we left off previously was we have this templated code. What does it do? Well, we want to go through the build process to turn this into the intermediate language so that the first time it runs in the .NET core runtime, it will convert it into an executable language that our machine will understand, and then it will execute it, all right? All that can be done with two commands, actually just one command. So let's go ahead and switch back to the command prompt. And the first thing we'll do is, and make sure that we're in the directory that the code is currently in so we don't have to type any extra commands. So in other words, make sure you're in the hello world directory. And here we're going to type .NET build. Now it's possible that when we type .NET build, it will show errors in our code. This template is so simple and it was created by Microsoft. I don't anticipate there to be any errors. If there are, you really have something messed up on your machine, okay? But you can see in green letters, the build succeeded. If we attempted to do this and we had misspelled something or written code that was inaccurate, we would see error messages here. All right, but we succeeded. Now let's actually run the application and see what it does. So .NET run. And I asked you to tell me what you think the application did. If you guessed that all it did is just output the words hello world, then you were right. And you probably can read and understand more code than you think you can. It's human readable. And so for the most part, you can make sense of it without me having to explain everything to you. But let's just show you, I showed you that first there was a build step and then a run step. Let's get into Visual Studio Code. I just want to change the word world to add your name there. In my case, obviously Bob. I'm going to save the file hitting Control S. So if I make a change, you'll notice that there's this little dot that appears next to the file name that says that there's a change that needs to be saved. So let's save that change, and let me type in Bob here and then save it. Okay, and then let's get back, because all you really need to do is just go .NET run. If you haven't already built the program, it will build it for you and then run the application. Okay, so if you do that, hello Bob, we're in great shape. All right, that's all you need to know. See you in the next video.